Hi, everybody, and welcome back to the GMAT Club YouTube channel. Today, we are joined by Joshua, who recently scored a 735 on the GMAT after multiple attempts. His journey is a great example of what it looks like to hit a plateau, rethink your prep, and make changes that actually work. We'll walk through how his approach evolved over time, what helped him break past the 680 range, and what he learned along the way. Joshua, thank you so much for being here and for sharing your experience with the GMAT Club community. Please introduce yourself a little bit to the audience.
Okay. Thanks, Albi. Thanks for hosting me. So I'm from Bangalore. I did my undergrad about 4 years ago, and I've been working in a startup for the last 3 years, and I kind of felt like now was the time to make a move and do an MBA. Uh, and so the first step was to do the GMAT,
Mm,
and yeah, I guess that brought me here. So yeah,
nice.
yeah.
And when did you make that decision to start prepping?
Uh, I would say around actually last year, December,
Okay.
2024 December. Uh,
Mm-hmm.
that was when I decided to start prepping.
Makes sense. So, okay, let's start from the beginning. As you guys can see here, these are all of the attempts that Joshua made. And I see that your first attempt was in April of this year, where you got a 685. Walk me through it.
Right. So the first attempt, I actually prepared only by myself. I really didn't use any external resource. So actually by myself, as in I used GMAT club tests and I used GMAT club tests and I used the official marks to like just
Mm-hmm.
do practice. But I never really explicitly studied from any source per se. Uh, I just felt that I had it in me. So up till the first attempt, my marks, like my highest mark was 725, and so I felt it was worth a shot to give it. And but I ended up with a 685. And at that point, I was actually targeting for a 715, which is roughly the 99th percentile.
Mm-hmm.
So getting a 685 was not ideal. Felt a bit deflated, but yeah.
But it's interesting how even with self prep, you managed to get that score. And this was like 4 months of prep since you started during December.
Um, it was 4 months of theoretical prep, but it
Okay.
was not like every day. I would say that on the weekends I would put some time because I was in a startup. There was a lot of work at that time. Uh, I'm still in that same startup. There was a lot of work,
Okay.
so uh, I couldn't
I
devote as much time as I would have liked to maybe prep. So it was usually over the weekends, just solving problems, getting the hang of it, right? That was my prep. And to be honest, I'm also from an engineering background, so I found math to be easy. Uh,
Mm,
it was mainly on the verbal and data insights, and on the data insights, it was mainly a question of how well I dealt with the time, how well I dealt with time.
makes sense. What I also noticed was so when you got the 685, you took, I think, another month to prepare again,
Yes.
right? But this time around, you scored worse, a 675. What happened? What happened in that 1 month?
Okay, so within the 1 month, uh, I realized okay, data insights went down to 80. And before that, all my marks up till that point, I had always got around like 83, 84 types. So
Mhm.
I felt data insights was something that I could improve. Uh, and if I had got with the same score as my in the other sections, as in quant 88, verbal 84, and data insights 84, I would have got a 715, which would have been my target score. And
Yeah.
so that was the reasoning behind my second attempt. But unfortunately, though data insights did go up, uh, verbal did go down a bit, and quant also went down by one. If I'm looking,
Mhm.
yeah, quant did
Did
go
you
down by one.
did you
So
change your prep strategy in any way, or like did you
no,
use any?
it was all by myself still.
Okay.
Uh, Yeah. But so despite getting a 685 and a 675, I realized that if I take like the best of each section, I
Mm-hmm.
actually hit my score. So the score which I was targeting. So that, I think, just added some fuel to the fire.
Okay.
So maybe continue. Uh, yeah.
But makes sense. Makes sense. And then I see that, but then, oh yeah, then, oh, here I see. So April, you took the first attempt. May, you took the second one, but then you took quite a while to study for your third attempt. And then you again scored a 685.
Yeah.
How did
So
that feel like?
yeah, that's an interesting story. So in, I think it was around June. So I had taken one of EGMAT's mock tests at that point, and so I had mentioned my score, uh, my previous score 685, and so they reached out to me, Abba from EGMAT. She said, "Would you like to join the last mile program in EGMAT, and uh, you could uh, do these various modules at like wherever you feel uh, you get stuck behind, right?" So at that point, I realized. So at that point, my aim was to like move verbal or data insights to 84 to like somewhere closer to 90, because that's also, there's a lot of it gives me some buffer as well if I
Correct.
do uh, make any other mistakes elsewhere, right? Because that's the biggest gap. So I started doing EGMAT's resources, using EGMAT's resources, and so I think it just took a while because I ended up doing some mocks as well, and work was again starting to peak at that period of time for me. So and then September end, actually September starting was like round one for some schools, and the ending the end was the round one for some other schools as well. So I had kind of decided, okay, let's give one in September, let's see what happens, and then yeah, gave the shot. And then if I see right,
Third attempt,
quant
you got.
went down. Quant went to 85. Verbal also went down a bit, and data insights was like 84. Uh,
Mm,
so I was that point I realized, okay. So I'll go a little behind as well. So during this period of prep, uh, during the mocks, I was consistently hitting like 86 to 90 in data insights on the
mm,
official marks as well. And so that gave me confidence because that it felt like I had a good buffer, right? And so verbal was very eclectic. Like I would one day get an 82, one day I would get a 90.
I
I just
see.
didn't know what to expect in verbal. So I kind of went in with no hopes about verbal, but
Mm.
data insights was what I was like pinning my hopes on. And when the
But it was
actual,
to see that your quant still went down,
yeah, the
especially.
quant went, because like I don't know what happened. I guess actually I do remember that I did find myself short of time towards the end. Uh,
Mhm,
and it's probably because I did ignore quant a bit, and I was like very heavily focused on these other two aspects.
mhm.
So yeah,
Makes
but I think with these three scores, like I kind of realized I do have. Uh, I probably should take another shot at it. Uh, but I'd also mention one thing during this period, because uh, previously my verbal scores were not reaching 90. My verbal
mhm.
scores were always within the range of like, let's say, 81 to 85 in the marks. Uh, but they started reaching 90. So EGMAT's resources help. But I would also, adding to that, I would also say there was this video I saw on YouTube of GMAT Ninja. Uh, so he really broke down solving reading comprehensions really well. So
Mm,
his technique of, okay, you read the paragraph, you try to understand it to yourself, such that you should be able to tell everything, and then you need to get into a state where when you're attempting the questions, you really don't even need to go back to the passage to read it again.
makes
Uh,
sense.
and that approach. really helped me. Uh, I started finding myself that I started finding that I was in comprehension passages. I was like getting really doing really well. Critical
Mm-hmm.
reasoning, it was very wavered. Like on one day I would get like a 90, one day I might get an 82. So uh,
Oh.
that
So
was the interest.
basics weren't covered. And I also read that, by the way, like in the first three attempts, you're treating all the sections sort of equally. I don't think you were targeting your weaknesses in any way. Is that the case?
Um, I would say kind of because they did have equal weightage towards the end score. So I was like, okay, yeah, let's do that. Uh, uh, I would, it didn't change too much the way I approach it. Like my aim was like, what can I do to maximize my score? So if verbal, like I just needed to hit two buckets, either quant verbal, verbal DI, or DI quant. Like any of
Mm.
those two, I needed to like really ace, and then I would have a good score. So that was my approach. It was, yeah, I would say that.
That was your approach throughout, or only for the
So
like
after,
first?
I would say after the third attempt, because at the third attempt, I kind of like I was like, oh come on, like I got data insights to 84, verbal to 82. Verbal was 82, but quant went down, and I was like, oh man, this is really bad.
So, so which two sections were you now planning to focus on more, going to the fourth
So
attempt?
uh, I always felt quant was my strength. Like
Yeah.
you give me time, I'll solve every problem. If I have to derive it backwards, that would
Correct.
I would be able to do that. Uh,
Hmm.
so th- at this point I realized, okay, in the mocks up till that point in data insights, I was getting 86 to 90 in almost every attempt I did. So
Hmm.
makes sense, okay, let's just make sense to do another attempt on data insights. Uh, and verbal, up till the point my scores were like very wavered. I kind of like, okay, let's just assume that it's not going to be a 90 or somewhere up there. It's data insights that I'm going to be targeting. uh, and that's when I went into my fourth attempt. Uh,
I see. I mean,
yeah,
it takes a lot of mental, how should I say, strength to do this four
yeah,
times. But I
it
mean,
was
looking at the score for your verbal in your fourth attempt, you managed to get a V88 from a
88. Yeah,
V82, which is
and that shocked me.
incredible. No, I'm sure. Like, but I mean, you must have done a lot of prep, right? You used eGMAT's resources. You got help with GMAT Ninja videos. Was there anything else that you feel like you specifically did, to get that big of a jump?
To be honest, I really don't know what I did between that period. Uh, in fact, I was like, okay, I'm just going to stay the same with verbal,
Hmm.
because verbal, I have no hope. I'm just going to just stay consistent, solve a couple of problems every day, uh, and then let's see what happens. But I didn't go in with hopes on verbal. My hope was really on data insights. Uh,
Oh,
yeah, and
but your
then
your DI went lower this time around.
exactly. And at that point, I was like, come on. But there was improvement. I reached 705, which is about, I think, 98 percentile. Uh,
Hmm.
and so there was improvement. And uh, the interesting thing is, in the first four attempts, I realized that quant being my strong suit, I never scored a 90 in any of them. Uh,
Hmm.
and had I, let's say, just got those 3 marks in quant. Also, to be honest, like I knew the error I did in quant in my fourth attempt. Like I knew what went wrong during the attempt. Like
Oh,
after the attempt, no, as in after I finished the quant section, I realized like I had made a very stupid mistake. It was like 3 by 12, and I wrote 1 by 3 or something.
oh.
And I was kind of fuming with myself, like, come on. And then that one mistake was essentially 3 marks lost in,
Oh.
uh, and 3 marks more would have made it 725. So,
Ah,
which
interesting.
would have been which would have been the target score for me.
Mm.
So
So
that's
technically, in your fourth attempt, you knew that your quant could have been better. Your verbal was already great. Your
Yeah,
DI,
that was
unfortunately,
shocking. That
poor.
was
Yeah, I
shocking.
was shocked. So this was the reason why you're like, okay, let's do this again.
Yeah, last attempt. Let's.
No, but like it definitely paid off because your quant went really up. Your verbal stayed in a similar range, and your
Yeah,
DI thankfully improved. So,
went by two. Went by two.
yeah, so
Yeah.
was it because of the hope of how you, and you took some time also to take your fifth attempt? You did not do it in the same month. I think you did by the next month, if I'm not mistaken.
Yeah. I did it in November, which was
Hmm.
about like 2 month gap. Uh, yeah. But I don't think the timing was the key reason. Uh,
Hmm.
I didn't do anything different again. It was just
Okay.
that this time uh, I was focusing, like, so for example, in quant, though I knew I could solve every problem, like what I realized was uh, there were certain topics where I would take a little bit more time to solve problems. For example, me being an engineer coming through India's JE coaching, uh, most of the topics were very easy for me. But
Hmm.
there were like certain topics, for example, simple and compound interest, which we you have these semi-annualized compound interest rates and things like that, right? Which I hadn't encountered up till that point, and up till then I was just like, okay, let's. I was deriving the formulas, and what I realized what was happening was I was spending more time on these kind of questions, um, and hence I was pushing myself to solve other questions faster in periods. So I looked at the areas where I could have probably reduced my time a little bit. Like for example, instead of having to derive a formula, let's in like permutations and combinations, I'll just have that formula at the back of my mind ready. So I don't need to do anything. And I think that actually paid off because uh, in the final attempt, I was able to uh, do all the questions fairly easily, and I was very confident that I had got everything right. And that also gave me like a mental boost going into the verbal and
Mm.
data insight section as well. That okay, I've done this section well. Just one out of two more to go. I should be good. Uh,
Oh, interesting. Okay, so knowing that you did well sort of helped ease the anxiety a little bit for the next two sections.
yeah, I would say I wouldn't say anxiety. Uh,
A lot of people are anxious, by the
yeah.
way,
I mean,
during the test.
I just wasn't complacent at that point because up till now, 4 attempts, I do not know what's happening. Like one section's always going up or down. So let's just see. Let's see what happens. But it just helped, get some peace, get some peace of mind, knowing that I had done it well.
No, that
That
makes
section,
sense.
and I couldn't figure out anything that went wrong there.
And regarding your section order, for all your five attempts, have you done it in the same way, quant, verbal, DI, or have you changed that?
So the first two, I did quant, DI, verbal,
Okay.
thinking quant to data insights would be a good transition given that there's a lot of math and data insights as well. And verbal, yeah, verbal, there's a big difference, right? So I thought that would work. uh, but then I changed it. uh, I'm not too sure why though. I really do not know. um, I think what happened is just like what I would do is like I would just take a break after quant. I take a break, uh, just do nothing for like 10 minutes, and then go. So that was and it was like almost like a blank slate approach verbal rather than approaching verbal in a tired state. Uh,
Mm-hmm.
yeah, I think that was the only thing.
Makes sense.
Yeah,
So
but like
you changed your order from the third attempt onwards?
correct, yeah, but not
Oh,
a
okay.
very rational decision. Like no rational decision process in
Behind
making
it.
that. It just so happened.
Do you
Yeah,
think it changed your scores, the outcome in any way?
I doubt it because in third attempt I still ended up getting, uh,
This score?
yeah, verbal 82, and data insights was actually the highest out of all the three. So I really doubt it. I don't think it had any bearing. But I always made sure quant was first because I knew that was my top scoring. Uh, yeah.
Makes sense. So, in terms of just going back to, I think your study resources, you said that you use GMAT club questions. You would take up the eGMAT course from your third attempt onwards and watch a few videos. Were there any other resources you felt helped you with your prep?
Um, I would generally like go on YouTube and see. I'm forgetting the names of the videos I watched, but if you would just type out like, so verbal was one of my weak ones, right? So if you just type out like, okay, difficult RC passages, GMAT, you'll see a
Yeah.
lot of videos and by different instructors. I would go through that, see how they solve the problem, or even critical reasoning, uh, to just see like, because by watching those videos you can trace where you went wrong.
Hmm.
So for example, I got this answer, or I am not convinced with my uh, I'm not convinced with the answer I've chosen. Like that was usually the case. Like for me, it was like I am convinced this answer is right, or I'm not convinced with any of the options,
Okay.
uh, kind of a thing. So that was how it was with me, and I later, yeah, would just watch those videos, see how they are tackling the problems that I faced. A lot of the times, I wouldn't get the answers I wanted because I would say, okay, maybe they're just like ignoring this fact, and
Mhm.
they're just continuing. But I think it's fine. Like, yeah,
And what I think this would be the major problem with verbal, I presume, that you would have, right?
yeah, but yeah, it was the major problem I had with verbal, but I feel I didn't solve it thoroughly. So, example, you asked me to do another test today. I won't be shocked if I got a 82. It's like
Gotcha. I mean, I've heard this time and time again. Like when it comes to prep, a lot of students they guess, or they, like it becomes a lucky guess sometimes. But it's really important that you know all of the basics from scratch to be able to answer or explain the answer, in the best way possible. So completely get what you just said. All right, and in terms of your study routine as well, you said you were working at your startup. How are you managing your time throughout all the 5 attempts?
Yeah, that's a good question. So, uh, I would mainly take some time on the weekends, uh, do a mock on one day, maybe do another mock on the next weekend day, maybe do a couple of practices, practice like individual section practices. Uh, there were times where like towards the end, I would just like study a little bit of theory, a little
Yeah.
bit more to just theory as in like, for example, in quant, like the simple interest and compound interest formulas, right? Like I would just study those. Uh, that's something I did. Uh, yeah, I wouldn't say it was just about finding time and using that whenever I could. Yeah, I think two things that actually changed a lot in my fourth and fifth attempt. Uh, so up till then, I'd been telling my parents, okay, I'm going to give it another shot. The fourth attempt, I didn't tell my parents. I was like, okay, I'm doing this on my own. I'm going rogue. Uh, let's see what happens. Uh,
That
and
did that help? I think it did.
looks like it. Like, I mean, they say correlation doesn't imply causation, but there
Mm,
is some uh, there is some evidence to back that because I guess I just so in the by the end of the third attempt, I was like, I give up. Like like 670, 685, 675, 685. Really, come on, like how hard can it be?
that's what I was thinking too when I saw your scores. I was like, huh? Like, I would have given up after
Yeah,
the third. I would have been like, that there's something definitely wrong. I can't do this again. But
yeah.
you
So I
timely
was
did it.
like not willing to get heartbroken again. I was like, I can't tell anyone if I get heartbroken. It's
Mm,
fine. Let's just take another shot because there is evidence that if I get all my sections right together, I would get a good score. So the fourth attempt, I was like, okay, I'll just do it on my own. If I get a good score, I'll take it. Otherwise, it's
yeah,
fine. Just move on.
yeah.
And I took the fourth attempt like just before round two deadlines. to various colleges I was applying to. So
Mhm.
that was also the reason it was sort of rushed. Uh, so yeah, and then it worked. And so I did the same approach for the fifth attempt as well.
Ah, so you didn't tell anyone either.
I didn't tell anyone either. I just went,
Oh.
booked the exam, when I wrote it, and it seems to have worked. So
Mm, I
yeah.
see. No, it did for sure. Great score. But if you had to suggest that, obviously you had more time and you took multiple attempts. But if someone
Mhm.
had limited time, how would you prioritize his resources today?
Okay, that's a good question. So I would say first evaluate where you stand. For example, for me, I knew quant was my top scoring subject, so it made sense to probably focus a bit more of my effort on getting other sections higher.
Yeah.
So that would be first, and then prioritize which sections. Um, I would say do not let mocks influence how you feel, because my mocks were all over the place. Like there were times I got verbal 90, there were times I got verbal 81 as well. Do not let that influence how you take decisions, because to be honest, I sometimes doubt whether the GMAT is standardized because of the crazy ranges of scores I was getting between exams. Yeah, and yeah, don't get complacent. Keep pushing. It's fine.
No,
Uh,
that makes sense. And regarding that, you're just mentioning like the mock scores and how they were like fluctuating, not fluctuating, but like with the different ranges, you were not sure what you're gonna get. Let's just talk a little bit actually about the mock test. So,
mhm.
which all mocks did you use, and how often were you taking them between each attempt?
Yeah. Okay. So I used the official mock tests on
Hmm.
MBA.com.
Yeah.
Then I used GMAT Club's mock tests, and I also finished all five of EGMAT's mock tests.
Hmm.
EGMAT, I found, I would say, slightly on the verbal side, they were slightly more tougher, because like
Okay.
the reading comprehension passages were longer. So that's
Hmm.
just something, if compared to the official marks as well, I would say, uh, keep that in mind. Well, this is my view. Uh,
Yeah,
Not endorsing or anything like that. It's my view that this is the uh, case. Yeah.
makes sense. And how often did you take these mocks? So obviously, EG you started taking after your third attempt, but let's start from your first attempt. How many did you take before you started taking the test, and during?
Okay. So before the test, so actually, I first gave uh the first mock I gave was on August, sometime in August 2023. That was when I
Mhm.
decided, okay, I am going to make an attempt for an MBA. But then around that time, my score was about 655.
Mhm.
But I realized, okay, there is hope, because I could see like I made like a couple of silly errors on quant and
Yeah.
verbal, like when you going back at the question is like, oh, how did I make this mistake? So I knew there was scope for improvement. But unfortunately, in October, so I played this sport called Ultimate Frisbee. I ended up hurting my leg, and I needed to go into surgery and stuff like that. So I kind of stopped. I stopped focusing on that. It was only December that, like, once I was able to like move freely, that I decided to again like start continuing studying uh, uh, for the GMAT, and then um, up till then, like so from December till, let's say, April, I would just find time on the weekend, do a mock, maybe do a couple of uh, sections. That was it. Then um, once, so that was the same approach till the second attempt as well. Uh, Third attempt onwards, I started going through the videos on EGMAT, started doing a little bit more like problems on their portal,
Yeah.
which are like they have a sequence of how to do certain problems. Some are tough, stuff like that, right? So I was doing that, and then uh, yeah, then the fourth attempt. So the third attempt happened, and then between the third and the fourth, I just was doing it on GMAT Club and official mocks. My eGMAT thing had expired by then, so I was just doing it on the GMAT Club and official mocks, whatever I had remaining. And I
Mm-hmm.
actually ended up. So I had finished some of the official mocks by April before my first attempt, and I realized, okay, there's about 5-6 months gap between some of these. I don't have any other mocks remaining. Maybe I'll
Mm-hmm.
just take it again. Uh, so I ended up, you can pay again, get it, and retake those again. So I did that between the third and fourth. So I had a few mocks remaining, and I ended up finishing those again between September and November.
I see. So you did not really use up all of your official mocks. In a way,
I
you were,
I've used, I have used them like
but
twice.
then you took oh, you already
Because
took them
I
twice.
gave each of them twice. Yeah. So
Oh, okay, okay, okay. So
because
you
I mean throughout this full journey, I ended up giving each of them twice.
but till the fourth attempt, you only took it once, right? Each of the GMAT
No, no, no.
tests.
So by the first attempt, I had finished everything on the
Oh,
official. Yeah, but because the fourth attempt was about 5 months later, uh, I decided to. I've probably forgotten those questions.
yeah,
Maybe why not? Let me just like take it. Like renew it, take it again, and let's see what happens. And to be fair, like I didn't remember any of the questions, so I thought it worked. Uh,
makes
that
sense.
was fairly reflective of a brand new exam.
Makes sense. So you weren't worried in a way that the mocks could be a little here or there because you might have remembered subconsciously some of the
I
questions.
doubt it because almost all of them I ended up solving again. And
Okay.
if I look back, I think I've got different questions as well.
Oh,
Like
okay.
from like a lot of them are very different. Uh,
Mhm.
yeah,
So in that way, it worked out to your benefit. And this time
correct.
around,
Yeah.
did you?
I have
Did
also
you
exhausted all the GMAT club. So GMAT club I would take in between. So I exhausted all of them as well.
I
Uh,
see.
all of those marks. Yeah. Uh,
And did you
yeah.
try all of these mocks again in your before your fourth attempt?
No,
Uh,
so between the like I would say the third to fifth attempt,
yeah,
I exhausted all of them again.
all of them again. Okay,
The
makes
official
sense.
mark, not the GMAT club, but the official.
Makes makes
Yeah.
sense. All right. So this was majorly about your mock test. Is there anything else about your mocks that you feel like you'd love to discuss? That
Uh,
stood out.
yeah. So I mean, one big dilemma which I still don't have answered is in data insights. I've always been getting 86 to 90, and then
Mm,
on the official test, I never crossed 84 in any of those sections, right? My final attempt was 82, which is fine. Had I got those two extra marks, I would have been at 755, which
yeah.
is great. But uh, I've not been able to figure out that reason. So I would. So I have a feeling. This is my view. I don't know if others also share this view. That is the official marks, or maybe it's the way I was practicing. Uh, I didn't like toward whenever I took the actual exam, I would always find myself short on two questions.
Mhm.
But while solving these questions during the exam, even like GMAT Club for that matter, I would always be able to finish everything on time. So maybe to someone who it could be helpful, just keep in mind that practicing at home may not be the same scenario as doing it in an actual exam. Uh,
Mm. It can in a good way and as well as a bad way. So
yeah, yeah, just
in both ways in that case. No, it makes sense. All right. So I think we majorly discussed, entire. Now I get a better picture actually of what happened, because when
yeah,
for like our viewers, whenever I was looking at Joshua's entire debrief, I was like, I really need to know what was happening here. Like, I'm looking at all of the
yeah,
scores going here and there, but now it all makes sense. Um, That's great. Let's also discuss a little bit about, your test day experience. So
Mhm.
in your last attempt, how did it feel compared to, what it was like in your earlier attempts?
I ended up taking the test in the same center in all five attempts. Uh, there was no real differences. I would say the only difference was the time at which I took the exam. So, for
Mhm.
example, I think some tests were like at 10 a.m. The last one was from 1 to 3:30. uh, that was the only thing. So what I did was, because and the reason it was at those time slots was because I didn't get any other time slots in that particular date range which I wanted. Uh, so I would say, uh, but what I would do is, like, before I took the official test, whenever I was practicing, I would try to make sure that I do get some practice at the time slot which I was going to write the exam in.
Mm, makes sense. Okay. And sorry, and you were mentioning about the timings as well. So, how did that change in between each attempt?
So I just took whatever slot was available. So
Okay.
I think the earliest I ever took an exam was like 10 a.m. And the latest was starting at 1:30. So there were times where I would just skip lunch and just like
Do you
have a
think
heavy
that's
breakfast, and just do it during lunch, like 1 to 3:30, that sort of thing.
do you
But
think it made
I
any
don't
difference?
think I doubt it. I really doubt it. Uh, yeah, I didn't feel
Okay.
anything. Yeah.
All right. Well, that's good because a lot of some students say that like the time does matter for them. Some would love better sleep or more sleep. But it's great that it didn't make a huge difference. To your
Yeah,
test.
yeah. At least to me, yeah.
Mhm. What do you think you did differently in terms of pacing or mindset? Like, of course, I think in your last attempt, you said the fact that you felt like you did very well in quant helped you like with the other two sections. But anything else that you specifically did that helped, score better?
Yeah. So after the third attempt, like I told you, right, I had kind of given up. I was like, you know what, it's fine. It was the only thing that pushed me to give a fourth attempt was my individual top scores in each of the sections
Hmm.
would have pushed me to the 99th percentile. Uh, so that's the only reason I gave it another shot. And I went in with the attitude, okay, you know what? If I don't get a good score, it's fine. Doesn't matter. 685 is decent. It's 97th percentile. But I was aiming for the 99th. So it's just about where you are. But I felt that, okay, it's fine. Doesn't matter what happens. I didn't tell anyone. I just went and wrote the exam. And then I got 705. I was like, oh yes, finally some progress, right? Uh, and so I took the same approach uh, going into the fifth attempt. I knew that, okay, 705 is a good score. Uh, it should be competitive uh, or semi-competitive for an Indian male engineer applying to any
Hmm.
of these programs. Uh, so doesn't matter. Let's see. Let's see what happens when I do it again. Again,
Yeah.
took the same approach. Didn't tell anyone. Just booked the center on my own. It's only after going to the center, seeing my score, that I actually called my parents and told them, "Oh wow, I got this score. It showed 100 percentiles and that kind of stuff." Yeah,
So that really helped. No, that's awesome. Um,
yeah.
of course, I'm sure anyone who's watching this debrief, they might be in the same boat where they might have given multiple attempts as well, and they're currently struggling. For someone who's watching and having that same problem, what would you tell them? In this case.
Okay, so I would tell them, one, be pragmatic, right? So, for example, the GMAT is an expensive exam, no doubt about that. So, like, only if you really think that you can, uh, and there is scope for you to improve your score, I would say go for it. Don't give up hope. Like, I know it's tough out there, but just
Yeah.
keep pushing. Just keep pushing. Like, you never know what's gonna happen. Uh, and Yeah, just don't give up hope. Like, if you uh, if you just keep pushing, I think good things happen. And for me, like what kicked in was like, let's say I do get this extra few marks, right? It's just a few
Yeah.
marks at the end of the day. Uh, and I am spending a lot of money writing these tests. But what it could help is, let's say, even if I get a scholarship for an increase in the scholarship because of my score for, let's say, $5,000, then
Hmm.
it's already worked in my favor
Yeah.
because I've already used it. So that was what
That's an interesting mindset that, like, okay, you might be spending more right now, but you might save a lot more later.
exactly. And I think in the grand scheme of things, like if I'm actually doing an MBA, let's say in the US or even in Europe, you are probably going to spend a lot more than, let's say, 1.5 lakhs, right? So
Yeah.
in the grand scheme of things, it did make sense to maybe take another shot. Yeah. So that was the reasoning behind it.
No, that's a great reasoning, actually. But that's amazing. I mean, this was very interesting. Thank you so much, Joshua, for walking us through your GMAT journey, and congratulations once again on your score, like 735. With all that you went through, I think you very much well deserve that score. But
You.
yeah, for all of our viewers for watching this, please do like this video and subscribe to our channel because we'll have more debriefs for you in the future. Thank you so much, Joshua, once again. Have a good day. Bye.
Thank you, Salvi. That was lovely.